What do you fancy for chow tonight?
Baked beans and broccoli.
Yeah, I think that could be very easily arranged.
He's a hard-working, loving father, although he has a bit of difficulty, I think, translating that into how you might expect a father to love their son.
Just going to put those shelves up in the living room, if that's all right with you. I'll make a bit of a racket, I'm afraid, so if you want to watch the television, we're going to have to shift it upstairs.
I'll go and be on my own in my room.
Good man.
Ed's got in his mind that he is a single dad and he's going to do this. He's trying to enjoy his son who he can't communicate, he can't hold him, can't play football with him, can't enjoy him as maybe the son he thought he would have. They do still have a relationship where they still know how to communicate affection, the little that they can by the touching of fingertips.
I could see the Milky Way as we drove towards the town centre.
He loves his son, so he'll make it the best he can. So he's running a business, holding down a home, looking after Christopher. And I think that's all fairly straightforward until now.
How many times do I have to tell you, Christopher? I told you to keep your nose out of other people's business.
I think Mr. Shears probably killed Wellington.
I will not have that man's name mentioned in my house!
Christopher's relationship with his dad is quite strained, probably not unlike a lot of 15-year-old boys with their fathers, and he's going through puberty and his hormones are raging.
Why not?
OK, Christopher.
But he also has Asperger's, so there's kind of more challenges on top of that as well.
I asked you to do one thing for me, Christopher, one thing!
I didn't want to talk to Mrs. Alexandra, it was Mrs. Alexandra.
The relationship is becoming more volatile because Ed, I think, feels he needs to close this down and regain control, because in order for Ed to survive and keep things manageable, he has to have control, is how he'd feel. You do see him hit Christopher. He's obviously a volatile man.
As the play or the book develops, they come to a crisis point, I suppose, and it comes to a head, and it explodes in a rather horrible way.
When he finds out that his mother was still alive and all these letters that his dad's been hiding from him, then that changes everything.
Well, I don't know what to say. I was in such a mess. I said she was in hospital because I didn't know how to explain it. It was so complicated, and once I said it, I couldn't change it. It just...
I think Ed did that not just selfishly because of the humiliation of the mother having had an affair and leaving, but how do you explain that to an autistic boy that the mother can't be there anymore because she can't do it? So apart from his own anger and frustration with the mother, I think it was also to cushion the boy, but it's just turned into an ugly mess.
I'm gonna have to touch you, but it's gonna be all right.
I don't believe that he's a malicious man. I think he's a frustrated man and a wounded man.
For me, it was really important that Ed wasn't a bad guy. You know, he was a human. He was struggling. He was doing his best. Sometimes he did a really, really bad job as a father. But, you know, every father who's ever lived, at times, has done a really bad job at being a father.
You also see a bit of evolution afterwards, because I think you see Ed coming round to understanding that this isn't just a lad he needs to control, and he finds a new respect for him and a love for him that's open and tries to live more mutually with him.
Now, you have to learn to trust me, and I don't care how long it takes. If it's a minute one day and 2 minutes the next and 3 minutes the next, and it takes years, I don't care, because this is important. This is more important than anything else.